Hey, 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 welcome everybody. This is Chris Cook, Symmetry Financial Group here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Appreciate everybody being on here and on time. I'm going to get cranking here in just a second, just allowing everybody a little bit of time to get on the call and making sure that we got it rocking and rolling for you guys. Yep, I think I got it filling up now. So making sure all my security tabulations are correct here. I believe they are. And all right, let's go ahead and get into it. You fine folks out there. Love starting it out. For all of you who don't know, we start out each week just recognizing some of our top people from the previous week. And then, today we can get to do the previous month. So we want to go ahead and get into it. I want to recognize our top 3 producers this past week on a short week here with us at SFG. I think a lot of people took some time off this past week. We got coming into number 3 spot, Mr. Steve Durgan, guys, 4,731 in premium. So proud of you, Steve Durgan, because one reason I think this is his first month over 10,000 in production. Steve Durgan, $11,242.08 in production, and I believe he's doing it mostly part-time. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Elijah or Grant, on that right there. But Steve Durgan, man, so proud of you, buddy. 11,242 this past month, I believe, part-time. So super proud of you, buddy. That's good numbers on any capacity, and I love that, buddy. That's making it happen for you and your family. Coming into number 2 spot, no stranger to our leaderboards, 5,204, Mr. Val Zarn. Way to go, Val Zarn. Always on our leaderboards, never a doubt there. Way to go, sir. Number 1, can only be one number 1 this past week on a short week. Stephen Wynn. Way to go, Stephen Wynn. 6,000 in premium. Direct to Mr. Grant Reynolds. Way to go, Stephen Wynn, buddy. That is a super good week for you, man. That's certainly a win for Mr. Wynn. Way to go, buddy. Super proud of you. Group of the week this past week continues to be a strong organization in our group. Agency owner Grant Reynolds and that team, $12,919.44. Way to go, Reynolds organization. Proud of you guys. That is some good numbers on that right there. Getting into, really wanted to recognize too some leaderboards for the past month. We had another really strong month in personal production out there. I want to recognize the top 2 producers in that right there. Elijah Carujo, taking no prisoners, no excuses. Works about 20 hours a week at a coffee shop, helping his family out, developing a business there, at the same time going out and personally producing here. Coming to number 2 spot, 18,546 in premium with us this past month. Way to go, Elijah Carujo. Super proud of you. Can only be one number 1. Way to go, Mr. Grant Reynolds, buddy. Super proud of you. $27,089.25 in premium. Mr. Grant Reynolds leading the way, leading by example. Way to go, young man. That, sir, is good stuff. Super proud of you on that. So, do 27,000 in a month in premium. That's pretty good. That's pretty good production, no matter what month it is. So, way to go, Mr. Grant Reynolds, on that right there. Now, let's get into recruiting leaderboards this past week. People that are going out and building a business with us. We always love to recognize that. Mr. Martin Neubauer showed the plan, shared the plan 10 or more times this past week. Kudos to you, Mark Neubauer. Always strong on that leaderboard. Way to go on that right there, buddy. Also, we had 5 new people that we contracted here within our organization this past week. Here's the leaderboards on that. People that got brand new contracted recruits. Mr. Val Zarn, Elijah Carujo, Barry Davis, Robert Schaefer's, and myself all had a brand new contract this past week coming in. Another super strong week. I believe we were well north of 30-something brand new contracts just in our organization this past month ourselves. I'll get you guys the final total on that a little bit later on today. So I'm wanting to make sure, making sure I've not messed everybody up on the other side. All right, now we are wanting to come in and announce the top 3. I want to make sure I got this right. The top players from the contest this past week. On Friday, number 1 producer on Friday outside of agency owner, key leader, earned another $50 in lead credit, Mr. Steve Durgan. Way to go, Steve Durgan. Good job. 12 points on Friday alone, earning you another $50 in lead credit, sir. And then congratulations for the 2nd consecutive week to the Val Zarn Mark Neubauer organization. They won our Massive May contest as a group. So congratulations, Valzar and Mark Neubauer organization. So the top 3 players on that team got $125 went to first place, $75 second place, and $50 third place. Third place winner on that team, Mr. Dominic Austin. Way to go, Dominic Austin. Super proud of you, buddy. Second place, Mr. Ken Thompson. Way to go, Ken Thompson, out in California. Super proud of you. Number 1 on that, Mr. Valzar. Another $125 lead credit goes out to you. Ken Thompson, you get $75, and Dominic Austin, another $50 in lead credit, which is no joke, because any of you guys can go take that, turn that into $500, $1,000, $2,000 for you and your family just by taking that, reinvesting it back into your business. Super proud of you guys on that right there. So let me make sure. I love it. So technology sometimes escapes me, so y'all bear with me on my technological skills here. So news and notes for this past week. News and notes coming up. We have a new book of the month. It's going to be hosted today by Dustin Hensley. That new book of the month is The Ultimate Sales Training Guide by Miranda Martin. And guys, I'm just saying, if you don't have that book, go out there and get it. It is our book of the month. And The Ultimate Sales Training Success Guide by Miranda Martin. Miranda Martin, she's actually a agency owner or, managing vice president of Symmetry Financial Group. And she wrote this book, and this book has a lot to do with really what you're doing out here. She personally has went through she started out here as a personal producer at Symmetry Financial and worked herself all the way up to 110% contract. This is a success guide to this business, and if you'll go in and you'll follow it, we think that it'll add a lot of value to you. You can go out and you can get it ordered today and start reading your pages today. We're going to have Dustin Hensley cover that for us on the call today. Also, corporate overview. If you're looking to recruit anybody into this industry, corporate overview, 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Starting out on that right there. We've got a lot of our leaders going to be on there. If you're looking to recruit people in this business or build a business opportunity here with us, that gives you a great example. Plug people into that corporate overview on Wednesday, what that will allow you to do. Plug them into that. They'll hear from all of our leaders what they've done here at Symmetry and see if ultimately Symmetry is a good fit for them. So that's 7 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific. Don't be late for that one if you are plugging people into that. Also, just wanted to recognize Saturday started the month of June production. So obviously today is June 1st, so we are in a 4-week month turn in. So if you're looking to get a raise, be aware of that. Some of you guys hit some numbers that you needed to get to, and this month is a good way for you guys to go out there and end up getting your raises for this month. If you're not getting a raise, here's the thing I would do. I would get with your direct upline, get with your growing upline, get with your mentor, and come up with a plan for you to get a raise. You should never not be getting a raise here at Symmetry Financial because there's an ocean of opportunity in front of us. So make sure you're being aware of that. Where you can find that is look on your promotion guidelines. And those promotion guidelines can teach you how to get a 5% commission raise every 2 months based on your volume of business. And that's something that I always tracked in my business. It really made it important for me to run not only a business, but a profitable business, was understanding getting those raises. Because let's think of it. If you're part-time and you're doing 10 applications a month, you're doing the exact same next month. And if you get a 5% contract raise, that's a $500 a month raise, which is $6,000 a year. That's for our part-time producers out in the field. If you're full-time and say you're averaging, you should be averaging at least 20 applications a month if you're full-time, that right there is $1,000 a month. That's a $12,000 a year raise. For a lot of you, that would either reinvest, that may take care of your mortgage, that may take care of your car payment, it may take care of both. For some of you, that might take care of your lead bill for the month. Bottom line, it makes you more profitable every month that you go out there and get a raise. Remember, every 2 months, you should be able to get a raise. When you're starting out at a 60, you should go all the way to an 80% contract in your first 8 months. And if you're not on that path and you want to be on that path, keyword is if you want to be on that path and you're committed to, get with a mentor today, come up with a schedule that you're not going to negotiate with, that you're going to stick to go out there and make it happen for you and your family on whatever capacity that you guys want to do. So I think I've got all the contest winners on Friday. So, yep. So congratulations to all those people there just making awesome stuff. All of the round one Costa Rica contest we will be posting on GroupMe a little bit later this week, as soon as we get those finals numbers in from SFG. Round two started on Saturday, midnight Eastern. So if you're out there and you're producing for the contest and you're looking to go to Costa Rica in October, just understand you're in round two. If you finish, you're down to 280 contestants out of all of Symmetry Financial now, if you've made it on to round two. So congratulations to everybody that will have made that. We'll be announcing that via GroupMe. And we also have the new agent call hosted by Mr. Mark Neubauer coming up tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you're brand new with us, you want tips, you want little product progression stuff, things like that, you can plug into that call. You can, the great part is too, at the end of that call, you can ask questions from one of our leaders on how you can go in and get this business going into another level. Mark Neubauer's earned an 85% contract here within our company, so that would be a great person for you guys to plug into tomorrow. Make sure you guys are plugging into that. It's 11 a.m. Eastern for all you brand new agents out there. So I think, Mr. Dustin Hensley, I think I got it all, buddy. And I hope I've got you unmuted. I see you on my big screen here, so you look good. I don't have you unmuted. Talk. I don't have you unmuted. Well, I did have you unmuted. Now you should be good.
Got it. I'm here.
Boom. I love it. Yeah. So I thought I'd unmuted you, but technology once again has
that's all right.
Well, my friend. But Dustin, I know you were going to do the book of the month, man. So I'm going to let you promote it and just see what you're getting out of it. Okay, buddy?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Chris. This is Dustin Hensley, direct to Mark Neubauer. And I was late getting this book. I had it at my fingertips and have been, so I very quickly read through my chapters this morning. But I'm blown away. So you guys are getting first impressions of the book because I'm only a fresh 2 hours into it, and I'm really loving the direction it's going. Really excited to finish it. If you have not gotten your copy, or if you have your copy like I did and you haven't started reading it, you are seriously missing out by not getting in. It's not hyperbole. It's not fluff. This book has been so exciting to actually get in, and a lot of it is because Miranda takes that mentality as a trainer of trainers. And the book is not a sales book. It's not designed to teach you how to become a better salesperson. It's designed to teach you how to become a better trainer of salespeople. So that's a really unique perspective. It's a little bit meta, in fact. And, you know, we obviously in Symmetry spend a lot of time listening to sales trainers with the SoundClouds and the weekly conference calls and even our books of the month that we do here in the Cook Agency. But this book, it takes a very unique tone, and I'm excited to read it because it feels fresh. So I'm going to go through the notes that I took this morning on the introduction and chapters 1 and 2, and just share with you why I think it is in your best interest, in the very least, to get through the end of chapter 2, you know, in the next couple of days. Or I did it in 2 hours while taking notes and doing all the activities that Miranda tells you to do while you go through it. So you have time. Don't lie to yourself and say that you don't have time. You do have time, and it's important. So in introduction, she talks a lot about her experience as a salesperson and how she kind of fell into the nature of sales, into a sales role. And what's really encouraging is that Miranda Martin naturally is an introvert. She's not super outgoing. She's not necessarily, you know, expressive or whatever, and especially in public. She seems like a really nice lady, but being on stage in front of thousands of people is not something that she would have chosen for herself. And that's what she makes clear. And so the big encouragement that she gives right away is, if you're an introvert or you're not particularly excited about leading a team of salespeople or just being a trainer of anything, then she is the right coach for you. And for those who are like me and who, you know, feed off of the energy of audiences, I think it's encouraging because there's a lot that she can teach me as someone who has overcome her own personal issues. as being on stage. And I think already I've learned several things about myself and the ways that I can, for example, hijack my own training and leadership skills, as well as, you know, interrupting myself, as I'm trying really hard not to do right now. You know, things like that. So I'm excited to learn more from her because she's obviously skilled and definitely has the credentials to teach and train any salesperson and sales trainer. So this system is for non-natural salespeople, especially. The other thing she talks about is the best players rarely make the best coaches. There's a principle that they talk about in sports, I know, that when athletes become so skilled at a certain thing, it becomes part of their nature. And it becomes difficult for them to express in terms that other people can understand what specific nuances or actions or mindsets that they're having, because it becomes invisible after a certain degree. And so she talks about the fact that being a sales trainer is about breaking that down in a way that people who aren't comfortable with it and are experiencing that inner turmoil, as well as people who are just trying to learn, need to be able to digest and process. And so being a sales trainer is about understanding your work and the things that we do as salespeople that makes us successful, and breaking that down in a way that other people can follow along. She creates this 8-step process, two or three of which are most common, but she's got this 8-step process for sales trainers to make sure that the messages that we're communicating to our trainees are actually understood, processed, and then can be acted upon. And she uses an acronym called GET DEALS, and it stands for have a goal, edify the mission or the action, tell. Actually, forget the details of tell. I'll just read the letters: goal, edify, tell, demonstrate, and discuss. That's a 2-part. Exercise, assessment, learn, and set expectations. And she spends the majority, I believe, of the second half of the book breaking down each of these things to make sure that, you know, we're not getting in our own way and we're doing this all the right way. But then the coolest part that I saw is in chapters 1 and 2. She uses her Get Deals methodology to teach you Get Deals. It's ridiculous. It's so cool. You're like halfway through chapter 1 and you go, wait a minute, GET, I see what you're doing there. It's awesome. It's really neat. So not only are you learning her process, but you're learning how her process works. And in the book, she's giving you guidance on how to take this process that she's teaching you and then apply it to yourself. And so there's homework on almost every page. And so that part was really fun for me. I love it when my mind gets blown a little bit. Chapter 1 is all about the learning pyramid. It's all about retention. If you're not taking notes right now, like right this moment, if you have a pen and paper and you're writing on a piece of paper, sorry, I don't know. Thank you, Chris. If you're not taking notes right now, you can only expect to remember 5% of what you're hearing on this call. And by tomorrow, or 10% of what you're writing. And by tomorrow, in fact, by 20 to 30 minutes from now, you can expect to have a 15% retention rate. Our ability to hold on to information in the front of our mind is very difficult after only one time of hearing it. So she talks about this retention pyramid, and there's a certain practice and rhythm to reviewing notes and making sure that you're coming back to maintain a retention level above 80 or 90%. And I'll let her share that with you, but it's brilliant. I found out that I am not taking notes nearly enough because sometimes I'm like, yeah, well, I'm doing other things right now, or yeah, well, I'm a good listener. But based on the retention pyramid and this pattern that she shows you, I think that's right. I think I'm only retaining about 5 to 10% of all the things that I am learning here in Symmetry. And that is, who is that hurting? It's not hurting anybody but me. And so I can't sit here at my desk, you know, where I do all my work and complain that, well, I'm just not getting it. Or, you know, I'm on a call with a client and I forgot something. Ah, shoot, you know, I got to be better. I got to do this more. Well, am I reviewing my notes? Am I taking notes? Am I being not only an active listener and an active note taker, but am I going back later and reviewing those things that I'm learning? I haven't been. And so that was eye-opening for me. All right, and then in chapter 2, the 5 training roadblocks, she talks about this, another acronym, HHHOT, hot. And those 5 things are, these are the 5 things that we as sales trainers do that makes it difficult for our trainees to receive the training we're giving. Number 1 is the hose approach, or the fire hose approach, where we're just dumping a huge volume of information on people like I'm doing right now, you know, and expecting them to retain as much of it as possible. And the worst thing that happens at the end of the hose approach is you say, does anybody have any questions? And then there's this moment of silence. And you're asking a yes or no question, right? And it begs for no, because we all just want to get through this painful thing. And so whether they get it or not, they're going to say no, and you're going to move on. But then later you're going to look back and go, well, I don't understand why they didn't do that, or why they didn't remember that, because we talked about it. That's the problem with the hose approach. The next is hijacking, or that's the act of like interrupting, or someone coming in and talking about something off topic. It creates a disruption, and it compromises the focus of the hearers. And she also mentions that it takes 20 to 25 minutes to be able to refocus your attention. So the biggest thing I was guilty here on hijacking, I realized as a trainee, is I like to interrupt myself. I tell myself I'm a really good multitasker. And so right now, even now, I'm such a hypocrite. I literally have 4 things on my screen except this conference call. And all of them are begging my attention, and they're distracting me from things that Chris was saying earlier and things that other people are going to talk about right here. So, you know what I'm going to do right this moment is click this button and hide everything else there. My screen is clear. And so we have the ability to hijack ourselves as trainees. And we also have the ability to hijack ourselves as the sales trainers, or training of any kind. The third H in this acronym is head-on collision. And you've probably heard this in the SoundClouds, where you have 2 or 3 people on a call and they're saying, oh, no, you go. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, interrupted you. Yeah, you go ahead. And then someone starts talking and there's a little lag on the phone and somebody else starts talking at the same time and they do it again. It's hilarious, but it's very difficult to keep the audience engaged while those things are happening. And the simple solution is an agenda, having an outline agenda so we know whose turn it is for things. And for those sales trainings that you're repeating, to practice them and make sure that you are handling the transitions well. And she doesn't mention this, but I was thinking about TV shows, like when you have Bob Barker standing up on stage on The Price is Right, and I forget the guy's name, but who does the announcer thing, they communicate to themselves. And Chris did a great job of this when he passed the torch over to me. He said, hey, we've got Dustin here, blah, blah, blah. Dustin, you take it away. And I didn't need to go, yeah, Chris, is it my turn? Okay. Chris, I can't hear you, blah, blah, blah. You know, that kind of, that's just interruptions. That makes it difficult for everybody to talk. So think of Bob Barker. That's what I wanted to say. And I want to go super fast, Chris, because I know I'm running out of time. One-man show was the last thing. That's where you're doing things like I'm doing right now, talking real fast, being the only one talking, not engaging the audience. And topic hopping, where unfortunately we have no choice but to topic hop in 10-minute calls like this, where we're reviewing a lot of material. But that's where you're bouncing around from thing to thing and blazing through a large outline. As trainers, we want to make sure that our audience can listen to the things that we're saying and be able to take notes, and go at a cadence that's easy for them to take notes, but also give pauses and give them time to ask questions, and make sure that they're able to acknowledge that they're getting the information by asking open-ended questions, not yes or no questions. And so those are the solutions that she provides at the end of chapter 2. Go read it today. It's awesome. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. And I do think it adds so much value to people, training people. And, you know, really that's some of the essence of our business. And I loved what you said about taking notes. You know, you see people, you know, the retention of the 5% is so important. And I learned that so many years ago, Dustin, when I first got in this business. I learned it at a sales training meeting, similar to this one, except it wasn't via Zoom session. It was just in person. But somebody told me that when I first got in the business, and I was probably right where you are, Dustin, in the business right now, just starting out, getting where I needed to get to and understanding this business. And I remember I heard that and I was like, I'm never going to be at a meeting again without a notepad, without a pen. I've got my journal over here. This journal's been with me forever. See? And guys, I filled it up with notes just over the years. And it's added so much value to my life because that right there, that association, I didn't just hear it one time, because people will go, well, I'm really good at taking notes in my head. And I'm just like, well, show me your bank account. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Because in the end, let me see how that's working out for you. Really, you know what I mean? Or you can't tell me you can't write 25,000 a month because you already know it all, right? And I just knew those different things. And I knew that about me, that I needed all the advantages in this business offered. And so when you hear somebody like Dustin talking about a book of the month, I encourage you to sit there and be thinking. And then also it's something too, it's also, you know, going back to, some people say, well, I'm going to listen to the book or I'm going to read the book. And well, you can listen to the book, but it's also the same way as taking notes. You're only going to retain a certain percentage of it. If you actually go read the book, it becomes more a part of your subconscious. It's the same thing with taking notes. It becomes a part of you. And the more it becomes a part of you, the more you become a part of it. And the more you start to get the results. In other words, you're feeding your computer, and then your computer starts to actually spit out different data. But as long as your computer still has the same data inside of it, the results are always going to be the same. And if that's, you know, if you're like, no, I'm already happy with my results, then great, we're happy for you. I want everybody to know that, like, we are absolutely happy for you. But if you're wanting growth, if you want more income, if you want more time, if you want more freedom, those things for you and your family, then you got to understand there's certain inherent things that you just don't know yet. It's okay. We're all on this journey, self included. I have so much more to learn, so much more to grow. That's the reason if you see me on a conference call, I actually went back this morning. There was a conference call that I was listening to on the road the other day that I wanted to re-listen to. So this morning before I got on this call, I went back and I took notes on it, because I wasn't able to take notes on it because I was driving the last time I heard it. And I just, you know, you want to ask yourself, am I doing that for my business? Am I taking my business that seriously? And it's okay if you're not. I say it's okay if you're not taking it this seriously, if this is just a hobby for you. But if this is something that you want to be a part-time stable income, full-time stable income, or not only you want it full-time, but you want to build a legacy for you and your family, then you have to at some point take ownership of those things and be willing to be serious about taking those things serious. Because I see a commonality of note takers. I see a commonality of people that read books daily. Those things, those associations tend to change people's attitudes, their attitudes towards business, their attitudes towards life, and it tends to impact their life in a positive manner. So I just encourage you, if you haven't been, don't beat yourself up, because one thing you can't change is the past. One of the things you can change is your future. And so there's a mark, right? You can keep lamenting the past, or you can start to look forward to the future. So this gives you an opportunity today to become a new version of yourself and take those things. And I had some notes here that I just want to cover with you guys. I pray this adds some value to you guys. Thank you, Dustin. Great job there, buddy. And I just encourage, you know, as we go back to just that reading part one more time, 10 pages a day. Hey, I'm an introvert. I didn't like to read when I first got here. I didn't like to read. That wasn't my part of my MO, but I did want a better life for my family. So 10 pages a day. I challenge you to do that. When you start your day, going back to our book of the month last month, 10 pages a day when you start your day, and see what you can apply from that book to your life and your business each day. I challenge you to do that as my homework assignment for you. And if you do, you'll start to notice the way you think about things change. That's a form of association. Another form of association is people. What I want to talk about is you're taking notes, I want to talk about some things here that talk about associating rightly. And, you know, when we talk about associating rightly, when you talk to your growing upline, your growing mentor in this business, somebody who is in business where you said you want to be, okay? You got to think, are they teaching you things you want to hear? Or things that you maybe not want to hear right now. Oftentimes when you're speaking to the right mentor, they're not giving you things you want to hear. If you wanted to hear them, that means your mindset was probably more already where it needed to be. Oftentimes what you're seeking, what you want to hear, somebody commiserate with you, somebody to say, oh, it's really that hard and all that stuff, and you sell yourself on that, is not what you need to hear. You need to hear that there's an ocean of opportunity out here right now. And there absolutely is at Symmetry Financial Group. There's an ocean of opportunity. There is no reason if anybody here wanted to make an extra, you name the amount a month you want to make. And I'm going to speak to income because you are in business, that you can't make it. You can't make it personal production. And I challenge anybody to that, but just understand when you are associating rightly, sometimes the people that you're associating with that are higher level are going to give you things that you may necessarily not want to hear. That's okay. That creates that little tension of growth that helps you pull you up to a higher level. Understanding that, that's a good thing. So if you are going upline and it challenges you and it stretches you and it may not be always something you agree with, keep in mind if you agreed with it, then maybe you'd already be where that person is. Just a thought process. You got to think. Because like I said, during times of things that are going on, you may want somebody else to commiserate with right now, and that can be some of the worst things that you can do to your business and to your life. Think about who you associate with. Is it a person that has a mindset full of hope? Is it a person that has a mindset full of challenge, not only for yourself, but for them? Is it a person of positivity? Not a person that puts their head in the sand. That's not what I'm talking about. Person that is where you want to be. Person that is where you're striving to get to. Oftentimes I see in business here, people will come and they'll ask me advice and they'll say, great, man, I love the advice you gave me. That's so awesome. And then they'll go and they'll talk to their best buddy, right? Let's just use this, their best buddy. And their best buddy says, man, I don't know. Sounds a little hokey to me. I don't know if I'd do that. And guess what? I bet you if you ask their buddy how much he made in his business or whatever, it's probably about the same that where that other person was. Does that make sense? And I'm going to speak to income because you're looking for a result. If you're in business, you need results, right? But also it can be in really anything from thought process or anything like that. So that's a good way to think about it. You know, also you got to be mindful, because this is something that mentors taught me years ago. You have to be mindful of people that who has a mindset full of right now fear, who have a mindset full of doom, confusion, pessimism towards the future. You may want to limit your time with those people. I had to actually, there was an exercise that my mentor gave me. He said, who's 5 people that you need to spend more time with? He said, make a list. And then he said, make a list of 5 people you need to spend less time with. And I made that list years ago. And I promise you, there were some friends on my list that it was easy and it was comfortable to hang out with them because they were exactly where I was at. And when I stopped hanging out with them as much, and I stopped hanging out with the 5 people that I put on that list I needed to hang out with more, that would stretch me, that would make me think at a higher level, that make me also do at a higher level because of how they were stretching my thought processes, our life started to change. And, you know, we started growing our business, but also we grew ourselves mentally. The way we thought about the future, the way we thought about the present became different. And our results also of those processes started to be different and started to be above the average and ordinary. So I just say, challenge yourself to also look at that in this light. People during these times, if they come here, they start to struggle when they first start with us, what they do is they tend to isolate. Most good books will teach you this, that they'll tend to isolate. They'll stop actually asking questions and they'll start making statements. Oh, these leads suck. That's a statement. How do I get better at calling leads? That's a question. One is problem focused, one is solution oriented focused. Which one thinks you get you to a brighter future? Just a question. Which one do you think gets you to a brighter future? If you're question based, where you're looking for a solution, or are you statement based, focusing on a problem? That's a challenge for you. It's something to look at. Don't isolate. I was sitting here looking, and I was taking notes because, you know, as I was listening to that previous conference call and I was thinking about association and stuff like that, and I wrote down some key things here, and I'm gonna get to that in a minute. So I started thinking about who associates with me the most in our organization. In other words, you know, if you look at great teams, the player should always chase the coach, right? The player should always chase the coach. That's how you know they want it. It's like my boys, both my boys played ball. It's like, but I only want to give them instruction based on what level of effort and how much they come to the coach, that I will actually give them instruction. Because if not, it's just me pushing rope. It's not going to do me any good. If they don't want it, dad can't want it more than they want it for themselves. Y'all with me? You got to want it. You got to want it. And so you got to think, if you have a mentor in this business, someone that's at a higher level, are you chasing your coach? Are you calling your coach? And I was looking down, I was like, who's called me the most over the last 6 to 8 weeks? And I started looking for my phone. Tick mark, tick mark, tick mark, tick mark. Who's called me the most? It's 2 people stood out. 2 people. Grant Reynolds, Val Zarn. It's not even close. That's the 2 people it's called me the most. Grant Reynolds set a record this past month, or close to a record for his organization, 73,000 in personal production. He's did 27,000 on his own pen. I'm not saying that was because of me. I'm saying it's because he's focused on the future and solutions and stretching himself. Grant Reynolds, Val Zarn, 12 unique writers in his business this past month. I think it's an all-time record for his organization as far as unique writers in a month. He's growing a business. I say, look at those things and ask your coach things that you need to improve on to get yourself to another level. Be open to those questions, because if you are and you're open to those challenges, they can give you the things that you need to work on, specific things that you need to work on. And if you will go work on them, you will start to see the ocean of opportunity that is Symmetry Financial. And this is the reason I'm going to say ocean of opportunity, because right now here at Symmetry Financial, it's unlimited the amount of appointments you can run. Unlimited. Any of you here, if you had to run 10 to 15 appointments a day, 7 days a week, you could do it right now. That's 70 to 100 appointments a week. And you're like, no way you could do that. And I was like, absolutely, 100%. I can show you a way if you're willing to do it. 70 to 100 appointments a week individually. I'm not saying you need to do it. I'm just telling you, don't use an excuse, because you can. Just understand that any of you can do that. Unlimited leads. The reason I say that, it's unlimited leads, because whether you're in Michigan, whether you're in Tennessee, whether you're in Arizona, whether you're in California, you can run appointments anywhere in the United States, because we have telesales, Zoom sessions that you can go do them that way. Or if you still want to run appointments in person, there's a lot of states you can go run appointments in person right now. Your choice. And you can do it. You can do it. So unlimited opportunity for you to go help people. And here's, if you took, say you ran 5 appointments each day, 5 days a week. Let's just say you ran Monday through Friday. I'm just use this as an example. And you only closed 1 out of 5 of the 5 people you sit with. Then you'd be making $500 a day, 5 times a week. That's $2,500 a week. If it took you $500 in lead investment, you'd still be netting $2,000 a week. That's $100,000 a year. And that's only setting with 5 people. And I promise you, if you really track your numbers, and this is a challenge of thinking, because remember, some of y'all don't want to hear this, and that's okay. Mentors aren't here just to give you things you want to hear. It's things you need to hear. Is that if you really challenge your thinking on those 5 appointments, it literally is that simple. And that's 25 appointments a week. And only if you did 1 out of every 5, and our numbers are way above that on average. Keep in mind, you're making $500 a week. So I had another thought. It left me. Hopefully it'll come back to me here in just a second. Schedule. One of the things, discipline beyond desire is the master key to riches. A lot of people want to understand, well, how do you make more income and how do you do this? Well, it's because when I was a personal producer and I was in the field full time, I was very disciplined to a schedule. In other words, the family would say, they'd call me and say, hey, we've got this event. We got a family reunion or something's coming up. Great. I'm working that day. I'll see everybody the next time because that's the day I'm working. It was a very disciplined schedule. It still is a very disciplined schedule. When I'm scheduled to work, I work. And also, if I didn't have my results that I needed in those times, I just worked more. Because what I realized one day when I talk about discipline, I realized I was very disciplined for 6.5 years for Toyota Two-Show Corporation, working as a cross dock. I started out as a $7 an hour temporary employee, and I'm working my way all the way up to the manager of the company in 6.5 years. And every day, if I was sweeping the floor, I wanted to be the person that swept the floor the best. Y'all with me? And then eventually they'd put me in charge of the other people that swept the floor. And then, but every day I was disciplined enough to do that. I went in at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and I get off at 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon or evening. Some days would work well beyond that. Some days would work 15, 16, 17-hour shifts. And I did all that for 6.5 years. I was very disciplined, but I was disciplined to a boss. I was disciplined to a company. When I started here at Symmetry, I just said, what if I take that same attitude and be disciplined towards my own family and my own dream? So many people, I guarantee you, some of y'all are going to laugh. Think about the time and effort you put into Symmetry Financial, which is discipline to your family and discipline to your own business and your own dream. Think about the job you worked before this. Which one were you more disciplined to? Did you go in at 8 and get off at 5? I challenge any of you to compare the actual hours you work here versus the actual hours that you used to work. If you work 40 hours a week here, there's nobody here to make less than 150,000 a year. Personal production, you don't have to hire anybody to do that. But you got to ask yourself, am I as disciplined to an old boss, or can I be as disciplined to my family in my future as I was to my old boss? Think about it. And here's the thing, sitting around thinking about this business is not working. Sitting around doing busy work, making sure you got the neatest computer isn't working. Making your desk a little neater isn't working. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about income producing activities. Making a dial to run an appointment, running an appointment, making a dial to hire somebody in your business, making a dial to interview somebody for your business. I'm just telling you, are you doing those income producing activities? Because if you are going to get results. Bottom line. And if you will just counsel upline during that process, that's the reason we call it massive action, constant correction. They will fix it. They will fix it. We got so many great examples on this team of people that have went and done it at a high level. Time after time after time again, and so many people throughout Symmetry. We will find somebody that can get you help if you're willing to be disciplined enough in your schedule to go make it happen for you and your family. I just say, challenge yourself to think to that level. Do your feelings or circumstances dictate your schedule? A lot of people say, like they'll say to me, they're like, well, I really didn't feel like it. And I'm like, man, I promise you, I wouldn't have ran many appointments if I had to wait till I felt like it. If I had to wait till I felt like it, I'd still be working at the cross dock, driving a forklift. That's where I would be, because that was in my comfort zone. I promise you, I never felt like doing anything different. But what I wanted was more than what I felt like. And I hope that resonates with some of you. If you commit to something, choose to follow through. So if you commit, whatever this is June 1st, 2020, whatever you commit to, choose to do it, and choose to follow through with it. When people say, well, I'm discouraged, what that means is they don't have a commitment level. They're too much based on emotion. I didn't base my business based on emotion or how I felt. I based my business based on facts and numbers, because those facts and numbers got me there. Now, the emotion came from my dream. And my dream was always more important than how I felt at that moment. And so you got to have a clear crystallization in your mind. What are you fighting for? For me, hey, it's going to be different than some of you. I was fighting for 2 little boys, Reese and Noah. I was fighting for my wife. And I was fighting for the memory of my father that passed away when I was young. I was fighting for those things because that's what I wanted for my family. And I didn't want my family to have to go through what I went through. And so I never woke up in a day or a time where I was too disappointed not to go make it happen for my family, because my dreams made it bigger for me to go out and press on and go farther. And I'm not saying that has to be it for you. You've got to define what it is for you. But if you do find that, latch onto it, write it down, be passionate about it, and go after it, whether it's part-time, whether it's full, because I promise you there's an ocean of opportunity that lays in front of you here at Symmetry. Any day y'all want, there's not a single one of you can't go make $500 to $1,000 a day if you just get on the phone, because it's unlimited. And remember, all you're talking to is people that are already looking for coverage from us. So I leave you that, guys. The way a coach knows the player is coachable, the player chases the coach. I leave you with this. Are you chasing your coaches? If you're not, I ask you to come up with a plan. Chase a coach that is where you want to be, not a coach that is where you're at. And you got to chase them. And you got to go out there and chase this thing at a higher level, guys. It's the month of June. Let's go make it happen for all the families out there, for the families that you go protect and the families that you represent. So appreciate you guys. Let's have a great week. Thank you, Mr. Dustin Hensley. Appreciate you, buddy. You did a great job today, man. Thank you, guys. All right. Y'all have a great week.